We've had a big birthday in the house. If you watch any of our sewing videos, you'll know my youngest daughter Cassidy. Well, she just turned 18, and obviously for her birthday she needed a special cake, and so I decided on a Black Forest Gateau. Black Forest is such an iconic cake and really delicious. But when I've made it in the past, I've always found that it's quite difficult to get a good balance between it being too sweet and also having a cake that's moist. And I really think that I've cracked it this time. I made this with 4 layers. I poured the batter into 2 kit tins and then cut each of those cakes in half. Having a nice thin layer really helps soak up the syrup and all the different the frosting and the cherries, and that really made a moist cake, which is the key here. There is nothing worse than having a chocolate cake and it's dry. So I've mixed together the dry ingredients and then in a separate bowl the wet ingredients. Another way to make sure that you have a nice moist chocolate cake is by adding buttermilk. And you will find if you make this cake that the batter seems really thin because it's also got some hot coffee. And I haven't worried about it being particularly strong coffee. It's just to bring out that flavour of the chocolate a bit more and add a little bit more depth. So as I say, it will be a little bit thin, but once again, that all adds to it. It bakes up beautifully. This was the first time I'd used these baking straps, or I'm not even sure what their right name is. And I found they worked really well. They help keep the outside a little bit cooler as the cake starts to cook, thereby giving it a more even bake. So the cakes have cooked and I'm going to let those cool now before I just cool a little bit before I take them out of the pan. I'm then going to make a sugar syrup now for when these are cooled, and that can go on. And I'll also make the cherry compot. I decided to use tinned cherries for the cherry centre because fresh are just too expensive for the amount I wanted, and I couldn't get frozen. I actually think that the tinned works really well. And I didn't want to use cherry brandy, but obviously you can do this. I instead decided to add some good cherry juice, just to add that slightly, the cherry flavour without too much of the sweetness. But I did reserve the syrup from the tinned fruit to help soak the sponges in later. Also, once I'd cooked the cherries down for a little while, I did take a little bit out of them and I blended that down just to get a bit more of a jammy texture. You don't have to do this, you can just leave them whole, but I just wanted a mixture. While that's finishing off cooling, I'm going to now just make the cream for the frosting and then cut the cakes and we can start assembling it. going to start this next bit with a disclaimer. I am not a great cake decorator. I love baking, love making cakes, but I will never be able to achieve beautiful, perfect, finished looking cakes. I think they taste pretty good and love the recipes, but when it comes to producing something that looks wonderfully glossy on social media, that will never be me. The only upside to that is that I think there are lots of people who are like me. We're not all perfect chefs and cooks. And so if you want to have something that tastes fantastic, but doesn't look like you've just bought it from an upmarket bakery, then I think that's okay. It doesn't always have to look perfect, I hope. So I have done 2 layers so far of, as you can see, of the cake with a layer of whipped cream and the cherry on top of that. And you can see the mixture of the textures with the cherry there. So there's plenty of whole bits of cherry, but it's not too wet, because obviously you want a moist cake, as I said before, but you don't want it to be soggy. And this is the cherry syrup that I saved from the tins that I'm just brushing on. You can finish the cake however you'd like, but there is enough in the recipe for you to put the frosting all over the outside. You don't need to worry about it looking too perfect, because the sides are covered with grated dark chocolate. And this was quite messy, and you would see that, but unfortunately my fat head got in the way when I was recording. So you can see it's all on the side, and then I just finished it off with the remaining cream and some fresh cherries. You can make this cake a day ahead before you need it, and it will store in the fridge once it's made for 2 to 3 days. Thank you so much for watching and for making it this far into the video. I'm Teresa. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. If you like sewing videos, then please check out our channel where Cassidy, the birthday girl, has got brilliant tutorials, and Alyssa, my other daughter, has got some fantastic crochet tutorials and ideas.